Om. 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 Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Saraswati Namastubhyam Parade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yatkripa Tamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam Paramananda Madhavam. Okay. So we are in chapter 10, Vibhuti Yoga. If you just entered, make sure your video is on so I can see you well. Last time we read from verses 1 to 5. So let us read those verses. We'll do a recap and then we'll move forward. From verse 1, we'll read together. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Bhuya eva mahabaho Shrudu me paramam vachaha Yatteham priyamanaya Vakshami hitakamyaya Na me vidussuraganaha Prabhavam namaharshayaha Ahamadirhi devanam Maharshinam cha sarvashaha Yo mamajamanadim cha Veti lokamaheshwaram Asammoha samartyeshu Sarvapapai pramuchyate Buddhir jnanamasammohaha Kshama satyam damashamaha Sukham dukkham bhavo bhavaha Bhayam cha bhayameva cha Ahimsa samata tushtihi Tapodanam yasho yashaha Bhavanti bhava bhutanam Matta eva prithag vidhaha. So this chapter is called Vibhuti Yoga. One meaning is the yoga of divine glories. One meaning is yoga is essence and Vibhuti is expression. Just like electricity is essence, but when it manifests through a bulb or a refrigerator or through a computer, that's its expression, because that's when we can see it in action. And in this chapter, we learn about both Bhagavan's essence and Bhagavan's expression. And why is this happening here? Because sometimes we feel removed from God. We feel that, during my sadhana time, when my mind is quiet, I am with that divinity, I am with Bhagavan. But when I'm in the world, I feel lost. I feel like I'm not in my sadhana. I'm not spiritual anymore. So spirituality is not a routine or a ritual. It's not something we do for 1 hour, we sit quietly, or for 5 minutes, we do a short puja, or we go to a class once a week. That's not spirituality. Spirituality is a rhythm. In and throughout every breath of the day, spirituality happens. It happens when we see Bhagavan in and through everything. So in this chapter, Bhagavan's going to tell us how to see him within and also without. So Vibhuti Yoga. And he tells Arjuna that I am explaining this to you because you are Priyamanaya. Priyamanaya. You are somebody who is pleased. You are somebody who wants to listen to the glories. And I explain this for your benefit. And at first, Bhagavan says, I am the source of everything. I am the source of everything. And then after that, Bhagavan says, actually, I'm not the source. I am unborn and I am beginningless. So on one hand, he says, from me, all things manifest. This is his vibhuti. But on the other hand, actually, I am birthless, I am beginningless, and I am also deathless. That is his yoga. See, not everybody will get Vibhuti. Not everybody will get Bhagavan's glories in and through nature. Some people will just want Bhagavan in silence. And not everybody will get Bhagavan in silence. Some people will want to see Bhagavan in the world. So this chapter is to tell us that we have to be able to do both. Because we cannot just always be extroverted and living in the world and doing things, and we cannot always just be introverted. We have to flow as per our Dharma, as per what's required. So Bhagwan says, I am Ajam, I am Anadi. So reviewing verse 3, he says, I am unborn, I am beginningless. And because Bhagwan is unborn, because Bhagwan is beginningless, Bhagwan only has to be you. Bhagwan has to be your real nature. Because just think about it. Anything that's born, you see it. Anything that has a beginning, you see it. It comes in front of you. When something is born, you experience its birth. When something has a beginning, you experience that beginning. Anything that's experienced becomes an object, and you remain the subject, the one who's illuminating that experience. So any time the subject is always greater than the object, because the subject is always there, but the object is born and it dies. The object has a beginning and it has an end. So if we say that Bhagwan has a beginning, Bhagwan becomes an object. If we say Bhagwan has an end, Bhagwan becomes an object. So if Bhagwan doesn't have any beginning or any end, Bhagwan must be you, that which is beginningless, that which is endless. Bhagwan must be the Atman. So the one who knows me as that Atman, as the self, that person will not be deluded again. And as my essence, I am the true pure self. As my expression, I am the Lord of the world. One will not be deluded again, and one will be free from all sins. Why? Because we will understand that Bhagavan's nature and our nature is one and the same. One commentator gives this very beautiful etymology to the word papa. See, the Sanskrit term papa comes from the root pa. Pa means to protect. So the word pita is made from pa. Pita means father. So father is supposed to be the one who protects. The word pati means husband, comes from pa. Husband is supposed to be the one who protects. But here when you say papa, it's pa plus up. Up means the one who removes protection. So sin, papa, is the removal of protection. And what is it that removes our protection? What removes our protection is our ego. Ego is that very sin. It's the one that removes our protection. Because the minute that we identify with the ego, then all of those virtues disappear. All the knowledge disappears. All the things which were protecting us, the knowledge of the scriptures, the knowledge which our ancestors taught us, the virtues we have been practicing, all of those things which have been protecting us, even the grace of Bhagwan, the grace of Bhagwan which has been protecting us, the blessing of our parents which has been protecting us. All of these things which have been protecting us, they disappear the minute we take ourselves to be an ego. When we take ourselves to be the ego, this limited entity, nothing can protect us anymore. Nothing. The fortress is broken. And all kinds of sins, all kinds of vices, all kinds of things will come in our sway. So when in our mind we are feeling all of these vices, all of these negative tendencies, that just means that the ego is acting up. Ego is acting up. So when the ego acts up, nothing can protect us. So Bhagavan says, whoever realizes me as their own self and understands that I express as the Lord of this entire creation, that person is no longer deluded and will be free of their ego. Be free of their ego. Now, we were seeing verses 4 and 5, where Bhagwan is saying that I'm not only the Lord of the outer world, I'm also the Lord of the inner world. So here in verses 4 and 5, he enumerates many different types of thoughts. So we're going to see how he is in and through each thought, and also how he is the source of all thoughts. So there are two ways we can look at Bhagavan. Through his Vibhuti, through the beauty of all of the thoughts, but through his yoga, through the source of all of the thoughts. So first he says he is Buddhi. Buddhi here means intellect. Intellect. Intellect is that patra, the vessel by which we realize the truth. He says, this is my expression, because without the intellect, nobody can realize this truth. That's why the human birth is so precious. Animals also have intellect, but animals' intellect is less evolved, meaning they can say which food to eat, which food not to eat, which place is safe, which place is not safe. Intellect is a faculty of discernment between what should be done and what shouldn't be done. So animals have it, but it's less evolved. Humans are the ones who have a little bit more evolved intellect to know what is Dharma, what is Adharma, what should be pursued, what shouldn't be pursued, where to go, where not to go. So this intellect is an expression of Bhagavan. And of course, the source of the intellect is the truth of Bhagavan. Now, what is the best thing we can do with this intellect? Jnana, the second one. Jnana. Jnanam here means wisdom. The best thing we can do with this intellect is gain knowledge, learn who we are. In every field, they have some kind of level. What is the best thing you can do in this field? What is the highest level you can reach in this field? What is the highest placement you can have? Here, if we want to reach the fulfillment of the intellect, the highest, the best thing we can do with it is gain knowledge. Gain that knowledge. Why? The third thing happens, Asammoha. Because when we gain knowledge, then we have Asammoha. Asammoha means we are no longer deluded by the world. The world can no longer grasp us, trap us, bind us. It no longer has the capacity to do that. They call it in our Shastra like a burnt rope. A rope has that capacity to tie, to bind, to hold, but a Jivan Mukta, somebody who's liberated while living, is like a burnt rope. Has the shape of a rope, but you cannot tie anything with that rope. So Asammoha means that because of this knowledge, the world has no capacity to bind us, to fool us, to delude us. We can see right through it. Like a magician acts on stage, and the magician has so many tricks, so many things that he does. And one of the tricks, maybe he might just take some money and he might just, take it out of his hat and throw it everywhere, throw it here, throw it there. And some might be very deluded, thinking that that money is real and wanting to go up to that magician and take it. But the ones who have seen the trick before know it's some fake bills there. If the magician was so rich, why would he be performing magic? Then he just keep all the money and stay at home, right? So the ones who know the trick, they don't get deluded by it anymore. They just see it and everything is okay. But the ones who get deluded, they go up and down, up and down, up and down, and they keep running after the world. So Asammoha means I don't run after the world anymore. I stopped it. I stopped it because I have understood that the solutions that I want to find, they're not in the world. So Asammoha. Now, when all of this has happened, this is clear. How does one's mind become? How does antakarana become? So the first three, Buddhi, Jnanam, Asammoha, that is in relation to pursuing the knowledge of the truth. After one pursues it, what happens to one's antakarana, inner equipment? Kshama. Kshama here means forgiveness. Why forgiveness? Because something fascinating happens. We understand that everybody is acting according to their prakriti or nature. Yeah, there is no question of why Duryodhana is so bad. Sometimes in Mahabharata, we might ask, why is Duryodhana so bad? Why is he so evil? Why is he doing so many wrong things? That's his nature. He himself said, I know what is right, I can't do it. I know what's wrong, I can't help but do it. So Duryodhana is like that. Why is Shakuni like that? Why is Shakuni in Mahabharata, so cunning, so evil? Why is he like that? That's his nature. So one begins to understand that every being will act according to their nature. Why is a lion fierce? Why does a dog bark? That's its nature. What are you going to do? So Kshama is there to say that every living being is going to act according to their nature. And sometimes it might be harmful, but there's nothing you can do. If we cease to forgive, it harms us. If we cease to forgive and we say, I'm not going to forgive, I'm going to let it affect me, I'm going to hold a grudge, it's only going to ruin us. Because we know we cannot change the person. When somebody has a prakriti or nature, you and I cannot change that. We cannot change and tell the dog, stop barking. You cannot. No matter what you do, the dog will bark. You cannot tell a lion, stop roaring. In the same way, certain people have certain prakritis. You cannot tell them to stop. All we can do is just stand apart, accept, and let them be as they are. We don't need to get entangled with that. So Kshama is there. Kshama. One beautiful example given in our Shastra is a mother is holding a child, a baby, young baby. And the baby doesn't know anything, right? The baby is sucking its thumb and pulling the hair of the mother. And it's painful also, but the mother doesn't think that I have to forgive this child for pulling my hair. The mother understands that this child doesn't know. That's its nature. The child doesn't know. He's got to pull the hair. What are you going to do? Right? Kshama. And Satyam. Satyam means that once I know this truth and I'm aware of it, that Satyata, that truth, that also reflects in our vyavahara, in our transactional life. When one is rooted in truth, then one becomes truthful. But the same applies also. Only one who is truthful can be rooted in truth. If we are not truthful in our words, in our actions, in our thoughts, we will never have the capacity to know the truth. So truthful in all realms, in our thoughts, in our words, in our actions. Truthful means that there's a power to one's words. When one says something, somebody says something, they mean it. There's a weight. That is called truth. Truth means there's a weight to it. There's weightiness to it. It's not flimsy. There's some people say, yeah, maybe I'll come. Yeah, okay, I'll do it. All right, we'll see. That is not satyata. When somebody says, yes, I can do it. It will be done. Yes, let's go here. That word, those words have weight. That is called satya. And when one lives a life of truth, what happens is the thoughts, the words, actions are in one line. Automatically, there's control of the senses, which is dhamma, and there's control of the mind, shama. It's automatic control because the senses and the mind are rooted in that truth. Guruji says very beautifully, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for everything. So when one is rooted in truth, then all the sense organs and all the mind, it becomes disciplined. It becomes in control. So this is the expression. This is what happens to the antahkarana, the inner equipment. Forgiveness, truthfulness, control of sense organs, control of mind. And then what happens in the emotional realm? So this is what happens in the mind, intellect, antakarana. What are the things that I feel in my heart? What are things that I feel in my heart? Sukham and dukkham, joy and sorrow. These are also expressions of God. Somebody might ask, joy I can see as an expression of God, but why sorrow? Why sorrow as an expression? Because sometimes sorrow is required for us to evolve and grow. See, when gold is burnt, it doesn't get destroyed. In fact, it becomes shaped into beautiful ornaments. When a diamond is polished on a really hard surface, it doesn't become destroyed. It becomes brilliant and it shines in excellence. So sorrow is also required. Joy is required. Sorrow is also required. In fact, when we don't have sorrow, we cannot feel joy. Yeah? Now, after a long time, we're coming back to Bhagavad Gita class. We want the routine. We want the weekly classes. Why? Because we had a nice summer break. If this went on the whole year long, you're going to say, when is the break? When is the break? When is the break? But when you have the break, then you can feel the happiness of having a routine. When on a hot summer day, then we can feel the joy of having a cold drink, a nice cold drink. When we have, some foods, they have hot and cold combination. And when there's hot and cold combination, you can feel the taste of it. Like if you have dahi vara, right? If it's dahi vara, the vara is hot. but the dahi is cold, and you put them together, you get a really beautiful combination. Huh? It's swadishta, right? So things in life, when they're mixed, they're also very beautiful. Hot, hot, hot all the time is miserable. Cold, cold, cold all the time is miserable also. Hmm? Happy, happy, happy all the time, believe it or not, is miserable also. And sad, sad, sad all the time is also miserable. So Bhagavan says, don't only see me in sukha, you see me in dukkha. See me in that also. Hmm? And the beauty of these two words is sukha, which is joy, dukkha, which is sorrow. Both of them have kha. Kha means akasha, hridayakasha, meaning your true self, your heart space, your true self. So what happens is that in your true self, in that pure consciousness, joy happens, sukha, sushtu, when something is favorable, joy happens, dushta, when something is not favorable, sorrow happens. But all of it, it is happening in you, that pure consciousness. They are in you, but you are not in them. They are in me, but I am not in them. Remember chapter 9. So these thoughts are in me, fine, but I am not in them. I'm not affected by them. I am a witness to them. So one way is seeing the expression of God in joy and in sorrow. The other is understanding the essence that I am the one illumining these two types of thoughts. Sukham and Dukham. Bhavo abhavaha. Bhava means birth, abhavaha means non-existence. So again, in everything that is born, in everything that dies, see my expression, see my glory. Whether it's in the birth of a thought or in the dissolution of a thought, you find me there. Find me as the source from which thought arises and as the dissolution point into which thought dissolves. See me there. But see me also in things that are slowly born, like the birth of a child. And see me in death. And death is also a beautiful thing. Death is also a beautiful thing because now that jiva is free to go and experience another journey, another path for them to evolve. So see me there. He says, see me in fear, bhayam, and see me in abhayam. See me in fear and see me in fearlessness. See me in fear, why? Sometimes in life it's good to have fear because if we don't have fear, then nothing will prevent us from doing something wrong. Especially when we're young, when we're immature, we want to do all kinds of things. But if fear holds us back, what will my parents say? What will people think of me? What will happen to me? You know, if I do this, what will my reputation be like? So there's a fear that holds us back from doing something wrong. This is called a healthy fear. And of course, Bhagavan says, see me in fearlessness. See me in fearlessness, meaning don't be afraid of trying anything. Even the subtlest thing of going beyond your mind, don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid to pursue me. Don't be afraid to seek me. Don't be afraid to let everything go and just focus on me. Don't be afraid of that. These are our expressions, the emotions that we feel. And then further, he says, ahimsa. See me as non-violence. Now look at this Vibhuti. You have two hands. In one hand, somebody is giving you a gift. In another hand, somebody is literally harming you. Bhagavan says, see me as the glory in the two hands. See me as a glory in the two hands. See me as that reality in the hand that is, giving you something good. And see me in the glory of the hand, somebody who's hurting you. In somebody who's giving you something good, and somebody who's hurting you. See me as the truth of both. Don't pay attention to what we get. Pay attention to the giver. Many times we pay attention to what we get. I got this gift. I got this pain. I got this sorrow. I got in my mail, I got jury duty. I was so upset. I got this, right? I got this thing. I got that thing. If we pay attention to what we get, we will fluctuate. But if we just pay attention to the giver, oh, today Bhagwan gave me this. How beautiful, there must be a reason for it. Sometimes Bhagwan gives us food, sometimes Bhagwan gives us hunger. Both are good. Sometimes Bhagwan gives us comfort, sometimes he gives us extreme discomfort. Sometimes he gives us nice sleep, sometimes no sleep. But instead of focusing on what we get, focus on the giver. Okay, the giver is giving us exactly what we need. Don't focus on what we get, focus on the giver. That's called ahimsa. Ahimsa literally means non-violence, but non-violence is this: seeing the truth in whatever harms us, so to speak, harms us. Seeing that that which harms us is also helping us in some way or the other. Why is this ahimsa? I thought ahimsa is me not being violent to anybody. Well, only when we feel that nobody's violent towards us, then we won't have the thought of being violent towards anybody else, right? So ahimsa starts with the thought that nobody is hurting me. Nobody is hurting me. Therefore, the thought of hurting somebody doesn't come. Nobody is hurting me. Stop looking at what we are getting. Look at the giver. Then samatha. When we start looking at the giver, thinking of the giver, samatha, we become very even-minded. If this happens, okay. If it doesn't happen, okay. There is no insistence. Where does sorrow come from? Sorrow comes from insisting. I want this to be like this. This should be like that. This person should be like this. Whenever we insist, that means we're going to have sorrow, because we cannot control anything. We cannot control anybody. Samatha means okay. Samatha doesn't mean that I don't do anything and then I should accept everything as okay. After my effort, after whatever I could do, okay, whatever happens, okay. Samatha. And then tushtihi. Tushtihi means contentment, but not with our sadhana, contentment with the world. Huh? Not contentment that only, 2 times I'll say Ram Ram and my sadhana is over, right? Only 1 paragraph I will study and then that's over. Not contentment in our sadhana or our swadhyaya or seva. Not contentment in that, but contentment in the world. Whatever I've received from the world, this much is what is needed, what is required. Alam buddhi, this much is enough. More is not required. Alam buddhi. Whatever we need, it will come. You don't have to think about it. There's a divine plan. There's all kinds of things happening. Whatever we need, it will come. So tushti is enough. This much is enough. I don't need more. I don't want more. Tushti. Tapo. Tapo means that austerity. Austerity, that is also Bhagwan. Austerity means the ability to be single-pointed in any single thing that we do. That is Bhagwan. Because if we cannot practice single-pointedness, if we cannot practice focus, then how are we ever going to realize that which is beyond all thought? That which is beyond all thought only comes through one who is focused on thought. Only when we are focused, then we can go beyond into absorption. Without focus, there's no absorption. So tapaha, that single-pointedness, is also me. And he says, Dhanam. Dhanam means charity. Whatever you can give. Whatever you can give. If somebody comes to the house, and let us say there's nothing. Let us say you are moving. So your whole apartment, your whole house is empty. So someone has come home. There's no couch also to sit. Okay, sit on the floor. There's no food to eat. Everything is empty. Okay, drink water. There's no water to drink. What can you give? One of the best forms of charity is good speech. You can speak. You can speak nicely. You can speak with love. This is also charity, because this is what people need most. We'll be surprised, we think that people need food, they need money. It is true. But more than anything, people need love. There's a very beautiful story. It's a true story. I think it was one person, I think in an African country, and he was a beggar, but he was also a thief. Like he would go to people to beg, and especially he would stand outside the grocery stores, where they're buying stuff, and he would beg. And when they're, looking for money in their pockets or whatever, he would steal something from their grocery bag and get something, manage to keep something. So he used to beg and steal. And because he grew up in a very in that kind of environment where everybody was just doing that kind of thing. But one time, one man came to him. He started begging, and usually people would shun this kid, would shun him, and would just, say, hey, whatever, we're not giving you money. Or some people would give money and turn away and look down upon him. But this elderly man said, what's your name? What's your name? And, this kid never had that. Nobody ever asked him his name. So he also didn't know how to respond. Somebody is treating him with such kindness. He didn't know how to respond. So to that man, he did not steal. They did not steal from him. And that elderly man kept visiting him, and, said, do you go to school? Do you want to go to school? And eventually that elderly man put him through school and became his foster father. And this young, this young boy who was known as a notorious beggar, as a thief, his life completely changed. Completely changed. So, Dana is that. It's that love that lies beneath it. Food is, yes, necessary. Money is necessary. But the thing that goes the longest way is love. And that is what people need most. That is what people need most. And just a few words of love can just turn someone's day around. That is Dana. Yashaha. Yashaha means fame. Bhagavan says, you see me in fame. Why fame? Fame is usually looked down upon. In great Mahatmas and Sadhus, they don't like fame. Because when people start to know them, then that means they get busy. And then they have to move around and talk to everybody and all of that. So they really shun fame. But Bhagwan says here, I'm also fame, because only through fame, my Vibhuti, my knowledge, my glory spreads. Only when Puja Gurudev Swami Chinmayanandaji, when he became famous, meaning when people got to know about him, beautiful thing is, they got to know about the Gita. They got to know about the Gita, right? When people got to know about Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi Ji, they got to know about Gyanam, the self. So although these Mahatmas, they don't like to be known. They don't like all of that, but Bhagavan says, at some point, people will get to know you, and when they get to know you, they'll get to know me. Through you, they will know me. Same with Swami Tapovan Maharaj. He was in the Himalayas. He was also actually quite famous as a speaker and everything before that, but he left all of that. He went to the Himalayas. And he didn't want anything. But because of his mere austerity, so many people came to him. And when they came to him, they knew what the glory of simplicity was. They knew the glory of austerity, and they knew what a Brahmanishta was. Somebody who abides in Brahman. Is that actually true? They found that out. So my Vibhuti is fame. Bhagavan says, Ayashaha. Ill fame is also my Vibhuti. Again, here it is the same like fear. Ill fame is also good, because when we're afraid of ill fame, then we don't do something wrong. When we're afraid that people will criticize something or look down upon something, then it prevents us from doing something wrong. So he says, that's also my Vibhuti. Nobody wants like a scar on their name. Look at all of these thoughts. Bhavanti bhavaha. In all of these thoughts, bhavaha. All of these qualities, bhavanti, I exist. Bhutana, in all of the qualities of these beings, I exist. Matta, from me alone, they arise. From me alone, they exist. They are my expression. So when you see all of these qualities, think of me. And when your mind is silent and you want to go to the source of all these qualities, that is me. You don't have to think of me. That is me. That is me. He says, Pritak Vidah. These are all of different kinds. Now, Bhagavan is going to say, all of the great rishis and manus, all of them are also from me. So this entire world is from me. These thoughts are from me. These qualities are from me. All of these rishis are from me. Let us see now verse number 6. Maharshaya sapta purve.
Maharshaya sapta purve.
Chatvaro manavastatha.
Chatvaro manavastata.
Madbhava manasa jataha.
Madbhava manasa jataha.
Yesham loka ima prajaha.
Yesham loka ima prajaha.
Maharshaya sapta purve. Chatvaro manavastatha. Madbhava manasa jataha. Yesham loka ima prajaha. Now here, what it says is Maharshayaha Sapta, the 7th great rishis. Purve means the ancient four. Purve Chatvara, the ancient four. Manavaha Tatha, and the Manus. Madbhava, possessed of powers like me. Manasaha Jataha, born from my mind. They are born from my mind. Yesham, and from these, imaha prajaha, these creatures are born loke, in the world. So these 7 great rishis, the ancient four, and also the Manus, possessed of powers like me, they were born from my mind. Madbhavaha manasa jataha. They were all born from my mind. And from them, yesham, from them are these creatures in the world. Imaha prajaha loke, are these creatures in the world. So here, usually it says that now there were from Brahmaji. If we look at, first we will understand the literal meaning, then we'll understand the deeper meaning of it. Okay? Literal meaning is Bhagwan appears as the creator. So Bhagwan appears as the creator, and we know the creator is Brahmaji. Yeah, Brahmaji. Now, Brahmaji, so in Bhagwan, usually you'll see in the Puranas, Bhagwan, Vishnu is lying down. He's lying down, and then from him, like a lotus comes, and that is Brahmaji. Brahmaji starts to create the world. And he creates the world, and the first thing that he creates is called Sanat Kumaras. Sanat Kumaras means these four eternal sons. Sanatana, that means eternal. So who are they? Sanat Kumara, Sanaka, Sanatana, and Sanandana. Gurudev also writes here. The four eternal sons Brahmaji creates. Now what happens? There's a problem. He creates these four eternal sons, but they took to Nivritti Marga. He wanted to create these sons to propagate, to make this world, to make a better place and everything like that, to get progeny, to get the world going. But these four Sanat Kumaras, they met Rishi Narada, who's also a son of Brahmaji. Now, whenever you meet Narada, something or the other happens, right? So they met Narada. What did Narada do to them? Naram dadati Narada, the one who gives knowledge. Narada gave them the knowledge of the truth. And when Narada gave them the knowledge of the truth, they said, wait a second, we're not going to procreate here. We don't want to be part of this world. We're going to meditate on that reality, on Brahman. And we're going to sit and we're going to close our eyes and we're just going to meditate on that reality. So they took up Nivritti Marga. Nivritti Marga means the path of renunciation. Brahmaji got so mad. He said, I had you four sons. I made four sons. I wanted you to propagate. I wanted you to create. And you're sitting quietly and not doing anything. He got so mad that he cursed Narada. He said, oh, sage Narada, if you are placed in one position for a long time, you're going to enlighten every being. Therefore, I curse you that you will always be moving. You cannot stay in one place at one time because everybody will be enlightened. So you will always keep moving. And that's why Narada is always moving. So somebody might ask, what happens if everybody gets enlightened? It will not happen. There's a curse. Not everybody will be enlightened. So after the four Sanat Kumaras, he said, I'm going to create the 7 rishis, the Sapta rishis. Now here, Gurudev gives this in the 10th page of the book. They're different at different times, right? So I'm just going to read their names. There's some of their names. I'll read it here. So one set is this: Bhrugu, Nabha, Vivasvan, Sudama, Viraja, Atinama, Sahishnu. That's one set. Or sometimes it is Marichi, Angirasa, Atri, Pulastya, Pulaha, Kritu, Vasishta. Or sometimes it's Kashyapa, Atri, Bharadvaja, Vishwamitra, Gautama, Jamadagni, Vasishta. So these are on page 10 on the chapter 10 book. Why I read these names out specifically is these 7 rishis. They're mentioned differently in different texts, but we will find that our gotra, when you do puja, they ask for your gotra. Gotra means your lineage. So inevitably, our lineage is linked to either one of these rishis. Because these rishis are the source of all creation. Brahmaji created these rishis and they are the source of all creation. So if we really, try to go back and go back and go back to where we are from, we will be able to trace it to one of these rishis. So every one of us will have some kind of gotra or the other. And if you don't have a gotra, you don't know your gotra, just say Atma is your gotra. The self is your gotra. And that's enough. So Brahmaji created these 7 rishis, and luckily these 7 rishis, they procreated. So that's also something about our rishis. Our rishis weren't single, they weren't celibate, they weren't brahmacharis, they were actually married. They were married, and that's how they could propagate. Because the rishis, they lived with their wives, the rishikas, and both the rishis and the rishikas together, they nurtured an entire gurukula. So all those students who wanted to study the truth would stay with the guru and the guru mata. And it is the guru and the guru mata who would teach them, who would sustain them, and they would learn from both. They took the guru as the father, the guru mata as a mother, and they would sit and they would learn from both. And that is how knowledge was taught. That is how our rishis sustained. That is how our whole Guru Parampara came about. All of us were taught because of these rishis. So, Maharshaya Sapta Purve. And after these 7 rishis, the Manus, the 14, there's 14 Manus. Manus are the ones who are in charge of each Manvantara. Manvantara means each kind of portion of time. They lead each section of time. And in each section of time, they develop the laws of Dharma, which are applicable to only that time. We must understand that, I know now we hear the term smriti. There's shruti and there's smriti. So you must have also heard Manu Smriti. Shruti means the words of the Upanishads, which are timeless. Smriti means these words which are bound in time. They were written for a specific time. Most of the smritis will fall in that category except the Bhagavad Gita. Because Bhagavad Gita is the direct words of Sri Krishna. That is called a smriti. It's called a smriti because it's not part of the Upanishads, but it's the essence of the Upanishads. So whether it's Manu Smriti or Gautama Smriti, whatever Smriti it is, that Smriti was written for that particular time. So we cannot look at something and say, oh, that's what they said. We don't know the context of why things were said when they were said. So in this way, he said, I created everything from my mind, all these from my mind, and from them, everything was created. So from the word Manu alone came man. Manute iti manuhu means the one who thinks. That person who thinks is called man, woman, the one who thinks, who has the capacity to think. Now, deeper meaning of this, Puja Gurudev gives is the 7 rishis, they represent the 5 senses. So here, Gurudev says the 5 sense stimuli and the intellect and ego. So 7 rishis exemplify that. And the 4 Sanat Kumaras are the mind, intellect, ego, and memory. So basically, if you think about the senses, right? And then the mind, intellect, ego, and memory, all of these, Bhagavan said, he created, and through them, everything is created. if you look at how creation happens in vyashti, means in the individual microscopic level, you will understand it in the macroscopic level. Creation happens first in our minds, right? First, we think of something, it's unmanifest, an unmanifest idea comes about, an unmanifest thought comes about, and slowly it takes root. So it comes about as a vasana first. It comes about as a vasana. It takes shape or form in the mind intellect equipment. And then we start to express it through our senses. And then we start to fulfill it through our organs of action. And then that's how everything happens. That's how everything gets created. So it goes from very, very subtle to gross. In the same way, on the macrocosmic level, how creation happens is it happens through the total mind, the total intellect, and slowly, slowly it breathes life into every living being. So he is saying, this is also my Vibhuti. My Vibhuti is also this entire, not only the creation, not only the illumination of thoughts, but also the entire process of it. That's also my glory. That's also my Vibhuti. Now the question comes, Arjuna said, okay, Bhagwan, you know how we are, right? We always want to know what's in it for me. You talked so much about your Vibhuti and your yoga. What happens if I know it? Before you go on further, please tell me, how is this going to benefit me? What's in it for me? So that we will take up next week. That he says in the next verse. All right. So I'll just summarize in a few lines what we covered today. Bhagavan says, see me in the Vibhuti, see me in yoga, see me in day-to-day expression, but see me also in silence. And in these beautiful thoughts of the intellect, where the intellect gains knowledge and becomes free from delusion, where we learn how to forgive, to live in truth, in control of the senses and mind. See my glory. See my glory in joy. See it also in sorrow. See it in birth. See it in death. See it in fear. See it in fearlessness. See it in non-violence, meaning see it not in what we get, see it in the giver. See it with equanimity. See it in contentment. See it in charity, in fame and ill fame. And see all of it. See all of the different varieties of thoughts in which I express, but also see the source of all of them. And see me express as the intellect, the mind intellect equipment, and as the senses. See me as that which creates the outer world. See me as that which creates the inner world. Constantly see me in everything that you do. That's all. This is the message of these verses. Just see Bhagavan in and through everything. Therefore, we are never ever away from him, not even for a moment. The moment we feel like I'm away from God, I'm not feeling God, it means that we are not seeing clearly. Seeking has to turn into seeing. Stop seeking. Just see. Bhagavan is in and through everything. Okay, stop here. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.